Tina believes that approximately 60% of the mangoes she produces on her farm are large. She takes a random sample of 500 mangoes from a day's picking. Assuming Tina is correct and 60% of the mangoes on her farm produces are large, what is the approximate probability distribution of the sample proportion of large mangoes in her sample? Well, that is going to be a normal. We're talking about 60%, so the proportion is 0.6, and to work out the variance, we do 0.6 times 0.4 divided by 500. And so that is going to be a normal 0.6, 0.00048, and I like to write down the standard deviation because that's what we'll actually use. So square root the variance, and it is 0.02191. Okay, that's going to be important. So, what is the probability that the sample proportion of large mangoes is less than 0.58? So that is just the probability of x being less than 0.58. Standard CDF on your calculator, and that is 0.1807. Tina decides to select the mangoes for her sample as they pass along the conveyor belt to be sorted. Describe briefly how Tina should select her sample. Well, we want some sort of random sample, don't we? So one way she could do this is generate some random numbers like, 3, 42, 57, and so on, and take those mangoes from the line as it goes past. A random sample of 500 contains 250 large mangoes. On the basis of this data, estimate the proportion of large mangoes produced on the farm. Okay, so that is just simply a p-hat. There was 250 out of 500, and so that is 0.5. And then we want to calculate a 95% confidence interval for the proportion of large mangoes produced on the farm, rounded to 4 decimal places. Now note there's 3 marks here, so we really need to show some working. So 0.5, take away the Z95 value is 1.96 times, with 0.5 we'd have 0.5 times 0.5 over 500, and then this would just be plus 1.96 times square root 0.5 times 0.5 over 500, and then we really want to give our interval. Of course, we can get that from the class pad, which is probably the way I would do it, but I'd need to show that working for the 3 marks. So I want this one, confidence interval for proportion. And what did we have? It was 250 out of 500, 0.95, that's what we got. And if we just execute that, let's go back and do it again in decimal. 0.4562 and 0.5438, and I have checked that is what you get by doing the calculation that I've got above. On the basis of your calculations, how would you respond to Tina's belief that the proportion of large mangoes produced is at least 60%? Justify your response. Well, I would say she's probably incorrect, and I would cite this, the fact that 0.6 is not only not within here, but it is some distance beyond. What can Tina do to further test her belief? Or take more samples, calculate more confidence intervals. It's only 1 mark, but these should suffice to get that mark.